This shocking video from Mumbai's Bandra terminus railway station is doing the rounds on social media. Alleged members of a right-wing outfit can be seen hurling abuses as well as throwing punches and kicks at a Muslim boy, accusing him of love jihad. The victim, who is a minor, was accompanying a minor Hindu girl, according to police sources, when he was attacked. As per sources, a kidnapping case was registered by parents of the girl at Ambernath police station in Thane as the girl went missing. In the video, around 10 people can be seen beating the boy while chanting Jai Shri Ram and Vande Mataram. And a policeman remains mute spectator while the assault takes place. According to police sources, the incident took place on July the 21st and the video surfaced on social media on the 14th of August. The viral video has drawn sharp reactions from political leaders.
As long as every citizen of Mumbai, every citizen of Maharashtra and India feels safe, that is our goal. And for that to happen, a proper investigation will take place, and I'm sure that law will take its course.
AIMIM leader Waris Pathan has demanded a probe into the matter.
वहां पर पुलिस खड़ा हुआ है, आरपीएफ का, देख रहा है, कोई एक्शन नहीं लिया जा रहा है, उसको मारते हुए लेके जा रहे हैं, जेएसआर के नारे लगाए जा रहे हैं, उनको बोल रहे हैं कि ये इस लड़की को लेकर आ गया था। अरे ये क्या हो रहा है हमारे शहर में?
The NCP has called it unfortunate.
होम मिनिस्ट्री has completely failed this state. मैंने पहली बार नहीं बहुत बार बोल चुकी हूँ कि होम मिनिस्ट्री जवाब दे, क्योंकि जिस तरह से क्राइम महाराष्ट्र में बढ़ रहा है, आप नासिक देखिए, आप पूना देखिए, और मुझे अमित शाह जी से विनती है कि उन्होंने महाराष्ट्र का भी मणिपुर और हरियाणा के साथ रिव्यू लेना चाहिए.
The Muslim boy was arrested by the police and handed over to the Ambernath police, after which he was produced in a juvenile justice court.
As a tourist, we are expecting some alert before. So I think finally I got to know these red alerts and everything. I think sometimes government or your Met department, they should have known this, but no one advised us to not to come to this area in this period. So if we would have known this before, we would have changed the plan. Now it's always said, no, can't help.
Flash floods and torrential rains have not only caused a huge damage to the public and private property in Himachal Pradesh, but has also dented state's tourism industry. Hundreds of tourists who were stranded at various places some time back, though were rescued safely, but still the fresh spell of rains has stranded many. We spoke to a group of tourists from Sri Lanka who have now cancelled their trip from Mandi to the neighboring Kullu and other areas, as the roads have been damaged by the bad weather, the rains and the landslides or in the rock slides. With camera person Chandrayaan, Manjit Sehgal in Mandi for India Today.
Mr. Modi on Atalji's birthday, death anniversary, is trying to erase the legacy of Nehru, which was created by Lal Bahadur Shastri and Radhakrishnan ji. It shows the pettiness of Mr. Modi. It shows the RSS, Bharatiya Janasangh and Bharatiya Janata Party's hate against Pandit Nehru.
देश की आज़ादी के बाद जितने भी देश के संसाधन हैं, चाहे वो रेल हो, चाहे सड़क हो, चाहे बिजली हो, चाहे पानी हो, चाहे झील हो, चाहे नदी हो, चाहे नाला हो, चाहे एयरपोर्ट हो, चाहे पोर्ट हो, सब एक ही परिवार का जो है वो उस पर पेटेंट हो गया था क्या? तो भैया देश के लिए और देश के आज़ादी के लिए, देश भारत के निर्माण के लिए तमाम हजारों हमारे महानायकों ने कुर्बानी दी है, जिन्हें कि आपने इतिहास के काले पन्नों में डाल दिया था। मोदी जी ने आने के बाद आपके सम्मान के साथ साथ उनके सम्मान को भी सम्मान दिया है।
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
All right, let's cut across to Supriya. Sule, Sharad Pawar's daughter speaking, even in the backdrop of all that speculation that Sharad Pawar might just be joining the NDA, as Pawar has slammed that speculation. Still questions raised on his secret meeting with his nephew Ajit Pawar, who's now joined the BJP. Supriya Sule speaking.
तुमच्या आज त्यांची बीडला असेल ना प्रेस, तुमचा जो काउंटर पार्ट आहे त्याला सांगा ना विचारायला की त्यांच्या मनात काय आहे किंवा ते असं काय म्हणतात.
भाजपकडून असं सांगण्यात येतंय, मोदींनी असा निर्णय घेतलाय की भाजपच्या नेते जे आहेत त्यांच्या मुलांना आता कुठे उमेदवारी मिळणार नाहीये. हा थेट केंद्रातून आलेला निर्णय, या निर्णयाकडे तुम्ही कसं बघता?
तो त्यांचा वैयक्तिक प्रश्न आहे. आमच्याकडूनही लोकशाही आहे अजून तरी, त्याच्यामुळे त्यांच्या पक्षाने कसा निर्णय घ्यायचा तो त्यांचा वैयक्तिक प्रश्न आहे.
What sort of decision their party has to take is their internal decision.
लेकिन महाराष्ट्र कांग्रेस के जो बड़े नेता है नाना पटोले वडेट्टीवार, वो तो आरोप लगा रहे हैं शरद पवार की ये सीक्रेट मीटिंग्स क्यों की जा रही?
नहीं, वडेट्टीवार ऐसा नहीं बोले. कल ने आपने पढ़ा नहीं होगा उनका स्टेटमेंट, और नाना पटोले जी का भी जो स्टेटमेंट आपने परसों का, कल तो स्टेटमेंट नहीं आया था, परसों आया था, उसके बाद कांग्रेस का कल का पूरा स्टेटमेंट पढ़ लीजिए आप.
ताई, फेमिनिझममध्ये एक संकल्पना किंवा एक सिद्धांत मांडला जातो, पर्सनल इज पॉलिटिकल अँड पॉलिटिकल इज पर्सनल. पवार आणि अजित पवारांच्या ज्या सगळ्या भेटी होत आहेत त्या कौटुंबिक आहेत, खाजगी आहेत असं जरी सांगितलं जातं तरी सध्याच्या परिस्थितीमध्ये त्या प्रत्येक भेटीमध्ये काही ना काहीतरी राजकीय अर्थ जो आहे तो निघतोय. ज्या पद्धतीमध्ये अजित पवार चोरटे यांच्या घरी भेटायला गेले आणि त्यानंतर गाडीतनं ते लपून गेले, तर ते टाळतायत पण कॅमेरामध्ये हे कैद झालेलं आहे. तर नेमका यातनं अर्थ लोकांनी काय काढायचा, कारण सगळेच गोंधळतात अशा ह्या सगळ्या परिस्थितीमध्ये जेव्हा अशा भेटी होतात.
मला असं वाटतं या दोन्ही गोष्टींवर आदरणीय पवारसाहेब आणि माननीय दादा दोघांनी ऑलरेडी बोललेले आहेत या विषयावर, त्यामुळे वेगळं मला काही बोलायची काही गरज वाटत नाही. चोरडिया कुटुंबाकडे पवार कुटुंबाचे माझ्या आणि दादाचा जन्माच्या आधीपासून संबंध आहे. आदरणीय पवारसाहेब आणि मिस्टर चोरडिया, ईश्वरलाल चोरडिया जी, ते दोघेही कॉलेजचे मित्र आहेत, त्याच्यामुळे त्यांच्या घरी आम्हाला पुण्याला जाणं. दुसरी एक गोष्ट की पार्लमेंटमध्ये किंवा कुठल्याही डेमोक्रेसीमध्ये डायलॉग असलाच पाहिजे. मी जेव्हा पार्लमेंटमध्ये जाते मी अनेक भारतीय जनता पक्षाच्या नेत्यांना भेटते, त्यांच्यावर पॉलिसीची डिस्कशन करते, अनेक मंत्र्यांना भेटते, ते आमच्याबरोबर चर्चा करत असतात. याचा अर्थ आमची राजकीय मतभेद आहेत पण वैयक्तिक काही संबंध नसतात. आणि हेच संस्कार आमच्यावर यशवंतराव चव्हाणांचे आहेत आणि ते पाळण्याचा प्रयत्न आम्ही करतो.
माढा लोकसभेचा प्रश्न आहे. माढा लोकसभा राष्ट्रवादी परंपरागत तो लोकसभा मतदारसंघ आहे, तो राष्ट्रवादीकडे आहे. पृथ्वीराज चव्हाणांनी सूचित विधान केले, काँग्रेसनं पडताळणी सुरू केली आहे माढा लोकसभा मतदारसंघात, तयारी सुरू केली आहे.
त्याच्यात गैर काय? काय चुकीचं आहे? प्रत्येकाला आपला पक्ष वाढवायचा
What's wrong in
अधिकार आहे. तर काँग्रेस करत असेल तर त्याच्यात गैर काय? त्याचं उलट आपण स्वागत केलं पाहिजे.
Congress has the right to expand its party. We should welcome it. What's wrong with that?
मी तुम्हाला सांगितलं इथलं गृह मंत्रालयाचं कम्प्लीट फेलियर, त्याच्यामुळे त्यांच्याकडून काय अपेक्षा करायची आपण?
Home Ministry is a complete failure. What should we expect from them?
तोपर्यंत म्हणजे अजितदादांनी सोबत आणलं नाही तोपर्यंत अजित पवारांना मुख्यमंत्री होणार नाही, होता येणार नाही असं मोदींनी त्यांना सांगितलंय आणि त्यामुळे अजितदादा सातत्याने शरद पवारांना.
All right, I'm going to cut across now to Mehbooba Mufti, PDP chief, who stirs controversy as she's spoken exclusively to India Today, comparing India with Pakistan and Syria. Former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir has launched the scathing attack on ruling BJP and said that the government is spreading lies about normalcy in Kashmir. She's further gone on to slam BJP for pushing Hindu Rashtra and hatred. She once again fired the Jumlebaz Sarkar jibe at the BJP government. She's also commented on simmering tensions that's brewing now within the India bloc over the Prime Minister's face. If PDP chief is to be believed, there's no dilemma within the India bloc over Prime Minister's face. In fact, there's a lot of confusion, and she admits it in that conversation. She has battled for, as we know that she's also part of the India bloc. We hear that she has been pushing for Congress MP Rahul Gandhi as a prime ministerial face for the upcoming 2024 Mahayuddh against the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. She's also added that the Gandhi scion has better vision of India than that of Modi.
Why are Kashmiri Pandits leaving Valley? Why were they protesting in Jammu for almost a year that we don't want to go back? Then they were forced to go back. And now whosoever is living in Kashmir, they have bunkers outside. They can't interact with the society. They can't interact with their neighbors. This is how they are living. I mean, if any Kashmiri talks about these things, they can't talk. If you post something on the social media, you are, called by the police and put behind bars. That is what's happening in Kashmir. I mean, the way 370 was debated in Supreme Court, it is, amazing. But you can't talk about the same things in J&K because you will be slapped with PSA or UAPA. Maybe apparently everything looks, fine. It's like they made it a, jail cum zoo, where they bring these, tours which are very much under control and take them around. But people are very unhappy in a democratic setup. If people are, it is the will of the people that is supreme. What is the will of the people? Are they happy that the 370 has been abrogated? No, they are very angry. They are very angry. It's not about Hindu Rashtra, it's BJP Rashtra, Godse Rashtra that they want to create, because you can see the amount of hatred they are spreading everywhere from Manipur to know what's happening at this point of time. I mean, ordinary people are ready to take up guns to kill each other. This is something we had seen in Pakistan in Ziaul Haq's time, what is happening in India. This is something that is happening in Syria, where people say Allahu Akbar and then kill. Here they say Jai Shri Ram and lynch people. What's the difference now? Tell me, is the criteria for the Prime Minister to be that he should be illiterate? Then he can become the Prime Minister? That he should not have no vision except, how the Gaurakshaks should lynch people in the name of Shri Ram? Is that the vision? I think Rahul Gandhi definitely has a much better vision for this country than these Gaurakshaks and other people that, are ruling the country at this point of time. So I think he's educated, very well educated. He has knowledge about everything. I had a, very brief interaction with him, and he could talk on all topics. And secondly, he does not seem to be bothered whether he becomes the Prime Minister or not. What is, keeping him on his toes is how to save the idea of India for which Gandhi laid his life. His great-great-grandfather went to jail. His grandmother gave her life. His father gave his life. So I think that is his passion at this point of time. And I think what more do you need in a Prime Minister, if he has a passion to save the idea of India? That's much more important than even becoming the Prime Minister of this country.
All right, that was Mehbooba Mufti, who spoke extensively about her view of what normalcy is in Kashmir. She's also spoken about India being like Syria and Pakistan. She says, what's the difference when people in Syria say Allahu Akbar and commit crimes, go kill people? The same things happening in India here, people chanting Jai Shri Ram and lynching. This is the former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Mehbooba Mufti, who's launched the scathing attack on the ruling BJP and pointed out that Modi predicting or speaking of normalcy in Kashmir is not true. The situation is far from normal in the state. Let me quickly cut across to Kavinder Gupta and Sunilji Bhatt joining us live. Sunil, go on, as we know that Jammu and Kashmir. Go on, Sunil, if you are with Kavinder Gupta, I'll toss to you. Please give us some reaction on that.
Absolutely. Nabila, right now I am being joined by senior BJP leader and former Deputy Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Kavinder Gupta. Kavinder Gupta ji, first of all, many thanks for speaking to India Today. Kavinder Gupta ji, PDP Chief and former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Mehbooba Mufti, in an interview with India Today's Maushami Singh said that that the situation in the country is right now worsening, and she has equated India with Pakistan and Syria. Your reaction?
कि हालत भारत की खराब नहीं है, हालत उनकी खराब है जो केंद्र को ब्लैकमेल करके अपनी राजनीति चलाते थे। आज जमायत, हुर्रियत जिनकी सपोर्ट वो करती थी और जो इनकी सपोर्ट करते थे, आज कहीं दिखाई नहीं देते। पत्थरबाजों को गुमराह करने वाली महबूबा मुफ्ती आज राजनीतिक जमीन खिसक चुकी है और वही कारण है कि फ्रस्ट्रेशन होती ही है।
नहीं, उनका कहना है कि धर्म का दुरुपयोग कर रही है बीजेपी की सरकार, और उन्होंने कहा है कि जो बीजेपी से जुड़े हुए संगठन हैं वो जय श्री राम के नाम पर जो है लिंचिंग्स कर रहे हैं, ऐसा महबूबा मुफ्ती का आरोप है।
देखिए, किसी का भी धार्मिक इतिहास देखिए, कहाँ लिंचिंग होती है ये वो खुद ब खुद समझ सकते हैं। हमने पुराना इतिहास देखा है, कई लोगों को रुई में डाल करके जला दिया गया, तवे पर बिठा दिया गया, कढ़ाई में तला गया। ये किन लोगों का इतिहास है? ये हिंदुत्व नहीं कहता, ना ही इस प्रकार की बात करने वाले हिंदू संगठन हैं। जो सनातन है, जो हिंदुत्व है, हमेशा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः और वासुदेव कुटुंबकम की बात करता है। ये वो कौन से हिंदू हैं जिनकी ये बात करती हैं? हमें तो हिंदुस्तान में सब सही नजर आता है, लिंचिंग करने वाला समाज कोई दूसरा है।
लेकिन कविंदर गुप्ता जी, अगर हम देखें हाल फिलहाल के इतिहास में मतलब धर्म के नाम पर जो है कई बार कई संगठन हिंसा करते हैं।
देखिए, भारत का एक संविधान है और संविधान के तहत सब पर कार्रवाई होती है, कोई भी संविधान से ऊपर नहीं है। लेकिन ये धार्मिक भावनाओं को भड़का करके गुमराह करने वाले जो लोग हैं वो किसी के हित में भी नहीं है।
तो आप निंदा करते हैं हर प्रकार की हिंसा?
देखिए, बिल्कुल हिंसा की तो निंदा होनी चाहिए, लेकिन जुल्म करना भी पाप है और जुल्म सहना भी पाप है।
तो कविंदर जी, जो महबूबा मुफ्ती बयानबाजी कर रही हैं वो कह रही हैं कि 370 हटने के कारण जम्मू कश्मीर की पहचान खत्म हो गई और जम्मू संभाग को सबसे ज़्यादा नुकसान पहुंचा है, और जो नॉर्मल सी का दावा किया जा रहा है वो फर्जी दावा है, कश्मीर में कोई नॉर्मल सी नहीं।
देखिए, नॉर्मल सी लोगों को नज़र आती है, ना कि इनको वो चश्मा पहनना पड़ेगा जो सच का। उसके बाद इनको ये जो स्टेट की पहचान खत्म होने का कारण, नंबर 1, इन्होंने 70 सालों में लद्दाख को एक काल ही नहीं दिया, उनके साथ दूसरे दर्जे का व्यवहार किया। यही हालत जम्मू के साथ रही और स्टेट की पहचान इसलिए बदली गई क्योंकि आपने मिलिटेंसी के गड्ढे में सारी स्टेट को घेर दिया। आपने पाकिस्तान के लोगों का समर्थन किया, पाकिस्तान के बातचीत करने की ब्लैकमेलिंग केंद्र के साथ की। हुर्रियत और जमायत के जो कैलेंडर थे उनका आपने समर्थन किया और उसको आपने माना। आज ये कुछ नहीं है। आज पूरा जम्मू कश्मीर के बच्चे, आज रेडिकलाइजेशन वहाँ पर नहीं होती, पूरा साल स्कूल लगते हैं। हम खुद समझ सकते हैं।
तो महबूबा मुफ्ती कह रही है कि जो 370 है, जो विशेष दर्जा था जम्मू कश्मीर का, वो उन्हें वापस चाहिए।
विशेष दर्जा अगर अलगाववाद, आतंकवाद, भ्रष्टाचार, परिवारवाद, ब्लैकमेलिंग लाता है, वो हमें स्वीकार नहीं है।
तो महबूबा मुफ्ती ने जो हमारे देश की तुलना पाकिस्तान और सीरिया से की है, उस पर आप क्या कहेंगे?
देखिए, ये उनकी सोच है। इस सोच से आगे जब तक वो नहीं उभरेंगी, पहले ही इनके सारे मंत्री जो थे इनके साथ वो छोड़ चुके हैं, तो अब अकेली जब रह जाती हैं तो अस्तित्व नहीं रहता, वजूद नहीं रहता, तो आदमी के कहीं ना कहीं शरीर के किसी अंग पर असर होता है। उसी का परिणाम है इस प्रकार की भाषा।
All right, now cutting across to some news from Uttar Pradesh in a mega Congress versus Samajwadi Party fight over Muslim votes in Uttar Pradesh, raking up the Babri verdict. UP Congress Minority Cell Chief Shahrawaz Alam has said that it was the Congress Party indeed that kept Muslims and mosques safe. Making a voter outreach, he's also said that Dalits and Muslims must unite in order to oust the Modi government. Samajwadi Party and the BJP were quick to react, slamming the Congress Neta. BJP said that it is the Congress that has always made attempts to keep Muslim community away from any kind of development. Further added that Muslims of the country know that Congress has betrayed them in the name of politics. Meanwhile, Samajwadi Party has claimed that the issue at hand is not about a temple or a mosque, but it is important to save democracy first.
मुसलमान और दलितों के बीच जो दूरी है, सिर्फ इसी दूरी की वजह से भारतीय जनता पार्टी आज सत्ता में है। आप याद करिए, जो बुजुर्ग लोग हैं, 1989 तक जब तक मुसलमान और दलित एक साथ कांग्रेस को वोट करते थे, भाजपा के सिर्फ 2 सांसद होते थे। ये सच्चाई है।
कांग्रेस अभी भी चाहता है कि अल्पसंख्यक समाज को वो चिकनी चुपड़ी बातें करके, गुमराह करके केवल वोट बैंक की तरह इस्तेमाल करे, लेकिन अल्पसंख्यक समाज वोट बैंक की तरह इस्तेमाल होने वाला समाज नहीं है। ये डेवलपमेंट की तरफ आगे बढ़ने वाला समाज है। देश का हर मुसलमान ये जानता है कि मुसलमानों के ऊपर किसने राजनीति की, किसने मुसलमानों को वोट बैंक समझा, किसने मुसलमानों का वोट लेके उनके साथ जो है उनको धोखा दिया। सब जानते हैं कि कांग्रेस पार्टी, उत्तर प्रदेश में समाजवादी पार्टी, बसपा पार्टी, इन लोगों ने मुस्लिम समाज को हमेशा वोट बैंक की तरह देखा, उनका वोट लिया और डेवलपमेंट से दूर रखा।
ये मूर्खों की सी बातें कहना, इनको अज्ञानता, जिनको ज्ञान ही नहीं है हिस्ट्री का और न तो सनातन धर्म के विषय में इनको ज्ञान है, क्योंकि इनको तो केवल वही सिखा दिया जाता है कि 5 टाइम नमाज करना है और बाकी सब अधर्म है, हम ही धार्मिक हैं, ऐसा इनको सिखाया जाता है। तो उनको तो उनकी भाषा बोलनी है, तो उनमें खुद ही इतनी अकल नहीं है कि इतिहास को पढ़े होते तो वो इस बात को कहते ही नहीं, क्योंकि धर्म तो केवल सनातनी है, बाकी सारे पंथ हैं और पंथ के आधारित जो व्यक्ति चलेगा वो बहुत लंबा नहीं चल पाता। जवाहरलाल नेहरू ने भी यही कहा था कि जब देश आज़ाद जब हुआ तो इंग्लैंड में जब उनको मीटिंग बुलाई तो उनसे कहा कि मैं मुस्लिम हूँ। उन्होंने अपने आप को मुस्लिम कहा था।
सवाल केवल मंदिर मस्जिद का नहीं है, सवाल भारत के संविधान के सुरक्षित रहने का है। भारत जो दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा लोकतांत्रिक डेमोक्रेसी कंट्री है, उसके लोकतंत्र को भी बचाने का है। धर्म हमारी आस्था का विषय है, उस आस्था के लिए भारत के संविधान ने सबको स्वतंत्रता दे रखी है।
All right. Meanwhile, former Congress leader and DPAP chairman Ghulam Nabi Azad has now sparked this renewed debate with his remarks on historical backdrop of religions in India. Sharing his perspective, he says that all individuals were initially associated with Hinduism in India. Listen in.
हमारे हिंदुस्तान में इस्लाम सिर्फ वैसे ही पूरा इस्लाम तो आया ही है 1500 साल पहले। हिंदू धर्म बहुत पुराना है, तो बाहर से आए होंगे 10-20, वो जब मुगलों के वक्त में उनकी फौज में थे। बाकी तो सब हिंदू से ही कन्वर्ट हुए हैं मुसलमान हिंदुस्तान में। और उसकी मिसाल हमारी कश्मीर में है। कश्मीर में कौन था 600 साल पहले मुसलमान? सब कश्मीरी पंडित थे, सब वही इस्लाम कर गए, बन गए। तो मैंने कहा सब इसी धर्म में पैदा हुए।
All right, I'm cutting across to Abhishek Mishra joining us live for more on that. Abhishek, tell us on Ghulam Nabi Azad's words where he says all people of all religions in India were once Hindus. This is more or less his statement, and this comes as he starts his new political party. He's been seen to show some kind of support to the BJP, very tacit support. And these words are just in time.
Absolutely, Nabila, and it looks like that, Ghulam Nabi Azad is on the similar lines what the BJP has been saying. But this argument or this discussion happened over a comment which was done by one of the Congress leaders, and saying this, that the mosque and the dargahs were more preserved or more secure in the Congress region, has initiated this discussion in the political circuit. The BJP is constantly making it a point that just to get the votes, just to politicize this, such a comment has come. And a mixed reaction. Samajwadi Party in Uttar Pradesh is also saying that religion should not come. It's more about the constitutional rights and the kind of environment which is there. But a very clear indication, Nabila, that just before the general elections, be it Uttar Pradesh or other states as well, the Congress is going to be very sure about the fact how the social harmony has been interrupted, or the kind of actions which are taken by the government, whether it was one-sided or not. And a lot of things which are already happening, be it the violence which happened in Haryana, or the kind of, the communal things which happen in Uttar Pradesh as well. That is something which is going to be a point of discussion, and it's going to escalate further.
And as we see, Abhishek, we also see in Uttar Pradesh, Congress's minority cell chief, Sarfaraz, has said that it's the Congress government that actually kept the Muslims safe and the mosques safe. So this is his appeal to Muslims to vote for the Congress, and also ask for Dalits and Muslims to come together to oust the BJP from power. SP and BJP have responded to it.
Well, indeed, and Congress is coming back to its foundation, because for the 26 years, it has the government in Uttar Pradesh, and the core formula was Dalit, Brahmins, and Muslims, and that is something which it is again eyeing with this India Alliance and the support of the Samajwadi Party here. But it looks it's way too early, because a lot of things are happening now with the alliances being formulated, and a lot of cross-party partnerships that are coming and going. It will take some time, but one thing is very clear with this agenda and with this kind of narrative which has been set. And the Congress party, who is talking about the politics of divide, accusing the BJP government, this is what we can certainly expect more with the run-up to general elections, right. And the more of the acquisition will come in this year.
It's really interesting, as SP and the Congress are part of the India bloc, the united opposition bloc to take on the BJP in 2024. But yet, within state levels, we're seeing a lot of back and forth when it comes to commenting and appealing to their vote bank. So it's going to be interesting to see how the India bloc will really manage to keep its flock together until the Lok Sabha 24. Thank you very much for joining us. Coming up right after a short break, we're going to take you through all the updates on Chandrayaan's voyage. Chandrayaan 3, a crucial step as it inches closer to the moon, propulsion model and lander to separate. Stay with us as we take you through every angle and in detail on what this means.
Prime Minister's Museum and Library Society. The new museum is a tribute, remember, to all 14 Indian Prime Ministers. But the Congress party is up in arms, claiming it's a deliberate attempt to destroy and diminish Jawaharlal Nehru's name and legacy. The BJP says the Congress is exposing its Parivarvad. Take a look.
The campus where India's first Prime Minister lived for 16 years until his death in 1964, called the Teen Murti House. Originally built in 1930 as part of British architect Edwin Lutyen's imperial capital. The same campus developed into the Nehru Memorial Museum and dedicated to the nation 6 months after the passing of the first Prime Minister, on his 75th birth anniversary. But the name change has triggered a political controversy. Congress has accused the Modi government of attempts to contaminate history and remove tangible symbols of Nehruvian legacy. Congress allies too have echoed similar accusations.
यही स्टेडियम जो भगवान विष्णु के नाम पे था एकाना,
अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी के नाम पे किया, हमें कोई नाराज़गी नहीं है। और हमें खुशी तब होती जब उनके गांव बटेश्वर में भी एक यूनिवर्सिटी बन जाती, तो शायद उनके परिवार के लोगों को और शुरुआती समय पे जिन्होंने उन्हें राजनीति में आगे बढ़ाया, उनका भी सम्मान हो जाता।
The BJP has hit back. Its attack centered around the Nehru-Gandhi dynasty. The ruling party accused Congress of promoting family politics.
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 38 and minimum 29 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 30 and minimum 27 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 34 and minimum 27 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 30 and minimum 21 degrees. Chennai, maximum 33 and minimum 27 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 29 and minimum 23 degrees.
As a tourist, we are expecting some alert before. So I think finally I got to know these red alerts and everything. I think sometimes government or your Met department, they should have known this. But no one advised us to not to come to this area in this period. So if we would have known this before, we would have changed the plan. Now it's always now can't help.
Flash floods and torrential rains have not only caused a huge damage to the public and private property in Himachal Pradesh, but has also dented state's tourism industry. Hundreds of tourists who were stranded at various places some time back, though were rescued safely, but still the fresh spell of rains has stranded many. We spoke to a group of tourists from Sri Lanka who have now cancelled their trip from Mandi to the neighboring Kullu and other areas, as the roads have been damaged by the bad weather, the rains and the landslides or in the rock slides. With camera person Chandrayaan, Manjit Sehgal in Mandi for India Today.
You saw the clothes, you saw the celebrities, you saw the jewelry. Time now for you to see footwear fashion and how to keep it dramatic this season. Here's a look.
When it comes to footwear, a lot of drama is now making way. For instance, Freddie Mercury makes a comeback with Theatre XYZ heels.
Harrison, Dark Horse, and this is the Theatre XYZ one. My favorite pick from their drama collection. It's got the boss-like appeal to it as well.
Even the Harrison Cloud 9 from the collection is now gender fluid and mainstream. Not just that, boots for all weather are here and they look chic.
I'm a sucker for color. This monsoon and the monsoon footwear these days are coming in different colors and different patterns. I'm just loving every bit of it.
Right from bubblegum smelling sandals to jelly shoes in all shapes and sizes and colors, monsoon shoes are sure having a moment. And if you have the courage to wear something different, try out these jelly ones from Melissa that are available in every color for different moods. And if you are the classy, safe type, your footwear can still have a lot of drama. These pics from OCD, especially the tap dancing Rebeccas or the dramatic Julies, come in with elegance in its own dramatic twist.
It's a beautiful artisanal work of craftsmanship made by artisans of India. And just look at the kind of drama it is adding to my foot.
While this season is all about adding drama, remember, wearing a story on your feet is all the 2023 footwear fashion is all about. In New Delhi, Chaiti Narula for India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
All right, Chandrayaan 3, a significant development that's coming in as it gets much closer to the moon. Let me take you through all of those details. Let me start with the headlines first. Battle for Cauvery water boils yet again. Karnataka to release water to Tamil Nadu. DK Shivakumar, deputy, admits insufficient water for Karnataka but guarantees water to Tamil Nadu. Lokayukta raids across multiple Karnataka districts. Raids underway in Koppal, Chitradurga, Tumkuru. Officials from various departments being raided. PDP chief's no-holds-barred attack on Modi government likens India to Pakistan and Syria, says BJP is pushing Hindu Rashtra and hatred.
In India, this is something that is happening in Syria, where people say Allahu Akbar and then kill. Here they say Jai Shri Ram and lynch people.
A crucial step in Chandrayaan voyage. Chandrayaan 3 inches closer to the moon. Propulsion model and lander to separate. And Gadar 2 breaks Pathan's record, becomes the only film to score 30 crore plus on its 6th day of release. All right, as we see that Chandrayaan 3's development now has made us immensely proud. ISRO is embarking to achieve a very successful soft landing on the moon with the launch of Chandrayaan 3. Anytime now, we're going to see a significant development as it fast approaches to the moon's surface. The spacecraft has completed another lunar-bound maneuver, setting the stage now for the separation of the landing module comprising Vikram, the lander, In fact, remember, Chandrayaan 3 spacecraft is set for a scheduled moon landing on August 23rd, aiming to become the 4th nation to achieve this milestone after US, Russia and China. Post-separation Vikram, carrying the Pragyan, will begin its separate lunar voyage from the propulsion module. Now, the Vikram lander has been named after Vikram Sarabhai, father of the Indian space program, and designed to function for 14 days, will be engaged in exploring lunar South Pole. And the Pragyan rover 6-wheeled vehicle, which has instruments that's configured with payloads, will roll out to conduct experiments on moon surface for 14 days.
The heartening piece of news that I wish to share is that the Chandrayaan 3 has finally completed its last lunar maneuver. It's entered into an orbit of 143 kilometers by 153 kilometers. And now the next important milestone would be the coming out of the lander module from the propulsion module, which we expect to happen on the 17th of August, following which then the location of the landing would be determined, the exact location somewhere close to the South Pole, which we expect to happen, the exact landing on the 23rd of August around 5:30 p.m. in the evening.
All right, meanwhile, K. Sivan, the visionary behind the Chandrayaan 2 mission and the former head of ISRO, has shared his optimistic outlook on the success of the newest lunar expedition, Chandrayaan 3. Let's have a quick listen.
This time, Chandrayaan 3, the total system contained a propulsion module and lander, and inside the lander the rover is sitting. And why the propulsion module anyway is required to take the orbiter from the earthbound orbit, which is the launch vehicle orbit. From that, the propulsion system has to take the orbiter all the way to moon and inject that one into a circular orbit of 100 kilometers.
Yes.
We'll carry out the in situ experiments on the moon's geology.
Okay.
And that too, this experiment is happening near South Pole, wherein nobody else have gone.
Yes.
So something new science may come out of this one.
Research.
Some new research, new findings, and science will come out of that, like water quantity and other geological parameters. It will be known. So it will be a science experiment also beneficial. So both technologically one thing and scientifically another part.
All right, I'm going to cut across to Pramod Madhav, who's been very closely tracking the developments on Chandrayaan 3. Pramod, in just about 25 minutes' time, we're in fact giving our viewers the timer as well. The Chandrayaan's rover will be separating from its lander. What does this really mean? India, of course, I know that India is going to be the first country in the world to be landing in the south pole of the moon. Give us some updates as the countdown begins.
Well, absolutely. It's a kind of like an amazing journey for ISRO, and the actual fact is that, Nabila, even before Chandrayaan 3 could go for a soft landing, ISRO has already started working on Aditya L1, that is a probe that will be going around the sun, giving more information about the sun and also Gaganyaan. So ISRO is like a juggernaut now, not stopping, and that's the kind of confidence and kind of like precise, accurate calculation that they have done so, by which now we are going to see a separation of the orbiter and the propulsion module and the lander module. These are two components. In Chandrayaan 3, we also had one more module called as the orbiter, which is still functioning. The Chandrayaan 2 orbiter is still functioning. It is sending back data to Earth, especially high-definition images and videos of the moon surface. That has already been uploaded into the lander, the one which carries the Vikram in it. And this is very important because this time it's going to actually increase the processing speed of the lander, by which it can immediately calculate and land on the south, and the exact location for it to land has also been expanded. These are the lessons that were learned from the Chandrayaan 2, and all this has been incorporated very clearly and very boldly, Somnath earlier said that this is a failure-based module because whatever they learned from the earlier landing attempt, they have incorporated it into this one, and this particular landing module is all set. Now, as we talk, the process is on to actually separate the propulsion module and the lander module. The work of the propulsion module was to actually take it into around the orbit, around the moon's in the moon's gravity, moon's orbit, where nearly 5 steps of reduction of the actual distance was done. And currently, as per the minister Jitendra, he said for 143 periloon to 163 apiloon, it's actually going around the moon, and now they are going to actually go ahead and work on the separation of the propulsion module and the lander module, Nabila.
Right, Pramod. Well, clearly, India Today, as we depict the rover that's inching closer to the moon here, we're going to, in detail, break it down for our viewers what this development really means. Stay with us, Pramod. Chandrayaan 3 is, of course, in its last leg of the mission to land on the moon. The propulsion module is all set to separate from the spacecraft and prepare for the final journey to the moon. Here's a quick look.
Chandrayaan 3 spacecraft and propulsion module, having spent 34 days together, are all set to part ways and embark on their respective journeys on 17th August. The propulsion module will separate from the lander while in lunar orbit. On 16th August, the spacecraft successfully completed a crucial firing operation, placing it into an orbit of 153 kilometers by 163 kilometers around the moon. This marked the completion of the lunar-bound maneuvers and brought the spacecraft one step closer to its ultimate goal of landing on the south pole of the moon.
And the lander will have its own first initial checkups. Because many systems have, as of now, propulsion system has taken that, but the 4 thrusters, main thrusters, which will enable the lander to have a smooth and soft landing, secure landing on the lunar surface, that need to be tested. And other sensors thing also, to some extent, have been tested all along. But now, the major thing is the thruster needs to be tested, and then it will take its own course to go for the near 100 to 30 kilometer orbit. From there, I think August 23rd early morning.
The propulsion module is a box-like structure with a large solar panel and a cylinder on top. It is responsible for carrying the lander and rover configuration until the spacecraft reaches 100 kilometers lunar orbit. After the separation, the propulsion module will continue its role as a communication relay satellite.
After separation, the initial tests of the electronics, the sensors, and the actuator around the 800 Newton for thruster test will be carried out. So then basically required maneuver. This time lander itself, Vikram itself has to do the maneuver to go to the 100 by 30 kilometer orbit. So and in that orbit it will, the cameras, other things will try to be turned on, but here once again turned on, look at a closer look at the moon.
The lander module named Vikram will embark on its own journey towards the lunar surface. Equipped with 4 landing legs and 4 landing thrusters of 800 newtons each, Vikram is designed for a soft landing on the moon. It carries within it a rover named Pragyan. The rover Pragyan will be deployed upon successful landing on the lunar surface on the South Pole to carry out its own research to find evidence of water molecules.
All right, as India Today has spoken to Dr. Amitabh Ghosh, who is a space scientist working on NASA Mars missions since 1997. In fact, listen in to this exclusive conversation.
someone, sir, who tracks, space journeys so closely, you know the technicality of what's involved in a soft landing on the moon. How challenging really is this mission?
Well, it is a very challenging. Soft landing is very difficult. See, for the Mars missions, we call it 7 minutes of terror. The battle here is you have to slow the spacecraft down from a very high velocity to something where it can survive, the delicate electronics can survive the landing. So for the Apollo mission, I think it was like the velocity was a few feet per second. So here, that is the challenge. Imagine you're dropping a suitcase from a building, and then when it touches the ground, if it's above a certain velocity, all the camera inside that suitcase will break. So it's a very challenging thing, and this is done mostly. It's an automated thing. You can have a response system, but you cannot manually change a lot of parameters during the descent if something was off. So it is reasonably challenging. So of course, it's a hard thing to do.
I'm sure you saw what happened to Chandrayaan 2, which is that it very successfully reached to the moon, which is why we don't really call it a failure here. It was partially a success, partially a failure, because only the soft landing, Dr. Ghosh, wasn't accomplished.
Right.
Do you believe that whatever went wrong there has been fixed in this particular case in Chandrayaan 3?
It's very difficult to see that. See here the game is, if you're 99% successful and 1% not successful, you don't get the data, right? So it kind of has to be 100% successful. So whether the problems have been fixed, it is like if your car was not working and you took it to the garage, and you hope that the problems are addressed.
Sure.
And it's a little more difficult in the garage because you are into this unknown parameter set. So you don't know a lot of parameters, right? So so the reason these spacecraft missions are so hard, that you have to make a very judicious choice of parameters, and then if it was outside that envelope, you have to have an automated system which corrects and still keeps the spacecraft safe. So I would assume that things have been taken care of, but there is no way to 100% know, and particularly being outside the mission team, right?
All right, much anticipation and promise around the Chandrayaan 3 this time. Surely ISRO is mighty confident. I'm going to bring back Pramod, who's closely tracking those developments, tracking ISRO. Pramod, tell us, as we know that India is not alone when it comes to lunar missions, the traffic has surged. Multiple countries wanting to land on the moon and do their independent moon missions. And India has been the first when it comes to landing on the South Pole. If Chandrayaan 3 is successful, will be the first country to do so. Give us more on the anticipation that's now building around this touchdown that's going to happen in 5 days' time on the 23rd.
Well, it's like there's a lot of anticipation behind it because the exact value. Because earlier, when we for a long period after the introduction of SpaceX, one question that was put forward with Somnath is a kind of comparison between SpaceX and ISRO, claiming why can't several questions were asked in front of him about why can't they go for a reusable vehicle and such things. At every time, Somnath used to reply that ISRO knows what India needs and ISRO knows how it should be done. That's the reason. Even though the Russian satellite can reach the moon in a shorter period, ISRO is actually taking a longer time. But at the same time, this is not cheap, but a cost-effective method. Every step is being calculated. Similarly, how we went to the Mars, same kind of method is being used over here. And that's the reason there are a lot of hope and scientifically calculated hope that this time Chandrayaan 3 is going to be a definite success. Like the scientist earlier said, now what the ISRO has done is that the fall rate has also been increased from 2 meters per second to 3 meters per second. It might sound very odd, but the legs of the lander have been strengthened and they had to calculate the actual gravity on the moon compared to Earth, because the tests that are being done on Earth will be different due to the gravity change on the moon surface and on the Earth's surface. But what they have done is that they have actually quarried a certain amount of rock from Tamil Nadu, from Namakkal, in a place which actually resembles the composition of the rock on the moon surface. That was used over there, and they have used helicopters, they have used cranes to actually test how far can the lunar orbit, the particular landing module, what is the kind of strain it can gain. All these things have been calculated, and in a very precise manner this has been designed. That's the reason the whole entire scientific community believes that it's definitely going to be a success, and ISRO is going to go forward with research on the moon's surface.
All right. Well, ISRO is really has been behind this Chandrayaan 3 extensively monitoring its every move, giving us all the exclusive updates. I'm in fact going to cut across to ISRO Chairman Somnath. My colleague Sagai Raj has had a word with him in an exclusive conversation as Chandrayaan 3's lander is in about 20 minutes time is going to be separating from its rover.
See, Chandrayaan 2 failed in the last phase of the mission to achieve a soft landing. So we understood what went wrong. There were many small reasons which cumulatively caused this failure. So we addressed all of them, corrected all of them. But then the crux is that this is not the only possibility that it can fail. There are many other possibilities. Anything can fail. So we addressed all such failure modes, and we built a more rigorous hardening of many systems, including its ability to land at a higher speed, more propellant to handle, more power generation capability, more disorientation capability, more ability to handle rotations. And we added additional sensors and sensor failures we addressed. So, and we did all these test and simulation modes and made sure that all our thinking process algorithms do work under extreme conditions.
So last time even you launched Orbit along with Lander and Rover, and Orbiter it is already there. And how have you enhanced the technology in Lander, because Lander was the one which has crashed? How have you enhanced the technology?
It's not the technology that is enhanced, it is the design boundaries that have been set. See, there is certain conditions in which it is supposed to work, and the conditions in which work has a window. If anything happens beyond the window, it may work, it may not work. So what we did this time is the window is expanded. Its ability to land at a higher speeds. Its ability to work within this much quantity of propellant is enhanced. We say this much is the power capability, we expand it. See, for the country there is so much of benefit. See, we will have to understand that this is a mission where we are demonstrating one of the capability of the nation for soft landing on the moon. I think moon is an interesting area for everybody. I think there is an increased interest in going to moon because of various reasons of colonization, resource generation, resource mining, etc. And more importantly, it is a scientifically very challenging mission. And this, being a spacefaring nation, we need to be part of it.
All right, indeed, this is a huge milestone for India. We're hoping and praying for the Chandrayaan 3's success. But what was the real difference between Chandrayaan 2 and Chandrayaan 3? Shiv Arur explains to us the role of the rover and the lander. The difference when it came to the Chandrayaan 2's launch to Chandrayaan 3. Let's have a look.
It's the pride of the Indian space program and the most ambitious space mission ever embarked upon by India. Much to be proud of as far as the Chandrayaan 3 is concerned. This space mission is a follow-up to 2019's Chandrayaan 2, the rocket that's going to be taking the Chandrayaan 3 into space and towards the moon, of course, is India's very powerful GSLV Mark 3 rocket. The total cost of this program, the Chandrayaan 3, is about 615 crore, which might sound like a lot, but compare it with similar missions by other countries and it's absolutely nothing. Compares very, very favorably, making it one of the most economical space missions of its kind. Now, 3,900 kilograms is the net weight of the spacecraft, the Chandrayaan 3, and it carries up to 7 payloads. Now, the Chandrayaan 3 program is going to be very busy after blast-off. There's much to do on the journey to the moon and also once it reaches there. But broadly speaking, the three main mission objectives include: one, of course, demonstrate a safe and soft landing on the lunar surface. The second, of course, is to demonstrate a rover roving on the moon. That rover will, of course, come out from the lander vehicle. And finally, to conduct in-situ experiments on the lunar surface. So these are the three basic mission objectives of Chandrayaan 3. There's a good reason why the Chandrayaan 3 program is aiming for the moon's south pole. Never before done as far as a moon mission is concerned. And here are some of the key reasons for that. Number one, the south pole of the moon offers an undisturbed record of space's origins. Now, this is very essential to some of the experiments that will be conducted. Reason number two, it is an untapped source of essential resources, which could mean something for humankind's future. It is said to hold ice molecules in substantial amounts, very crucial to the in-situ experiments that will be conducted by Chandrayaan 3. The craters are cold traps and could contain certain fossil records, which of course will be of great interest to research and scientists. It's got a different geology than equatorial origin, which of course is important because a large part of the equator, which has seen many moon missions before, has been quite extensively studied. This will be a rare one to the moon's south pole. So many new things to look out for.
All right, here's a big update. The countdown has finally ended. As we know, the lander has separated from the rover. This is India Today bringing you the Chandrayaan 3's successful separation of the lander and the rover. India achieves a huge mega milestone indeed. The mission Chandrayaan 3, as we know, has now so far been as per plan. It's achieved a massive milestone as the separation has just happened. The lander and the rover has managed to separate successfully. Pramod Madhav, who's tracking those developments. Pramod, countdown has finally ended. The lander Vikram separates from its mothership, and this is exactly as per planned. It's going to be another 5 days until it touches the surface of the moon's south pole. India to be the first country to do so. So far, it's been absolutely going as per planned. Another milestone that India has achieved here.
It absolutely is. The Chandrayaan orbit has crossed almost 3.8 lakh kilometers, the distance between Earth and the Moon, and it has reached the spot. And now the ISRO, after the separation, what they will do is that the propulsion module will be going on a circular orbit 100 kilometers above the Moon's surface. But the lander module will have a different path, an elliptical path, which will be like as planned, should be between 30 kilometers near closest point to 100 kilometers, and like as it goes around this particular orbit, the soft landing will be the time, and the time has already been decided as 23rd of August. And after all the checks been done, ISRO will go ahead for that. ISRO has been in each and every step has been very calculative and made sure that like the exact thrust has been given, the exact method has been given. In fact, in this particular one, the lander module was above the thrust module, the propulsion module, and after separation, it has to stabilize itself, and it's a kind of 3D stabilization because ISRO has to make sure that it does not spin out of control, and the actual way of landing will be vertical and in a slant position. All this will be calculated, and like from 5 days from now, they will go ahead with the landing process.
All right, so the actual countdown has finally begun today, or just this minute, if I may say. Here is India achieving a massive milestone when it comes to moon mission. Chandrayaan 3 has finally managed to separate the actual lander from the rover. Vikram 3 separates from the mothership itself, and now that heads towards the moon's surface. Nagarjun Dwarkanath is also joining us for more on that. Nagarjun, after that disappointing loss of communication that happened with Chandrayaan 2, Chandrayaan 3 has been on point by and large. We see that the fifth and final moon maneuver has completed, and now Vikram has separated from the mothership, and in about 5 days' time, soft landing is likely to take place. It will be attempted on the 23rd of August. That's another 5 days from now. How amazing is this feeling, and a big achievement indeed for India?
Well, that's absolutely true. In fact, it's a feeling that your own child, as you see them grow over and reach a successful stage. Because I was on the launch day in Sriharikota, like I saw the launch happen right in front of my eye. And today, you can imagine that the same thing that we saw live is reaching the moon surface that you wouldn't imagine in a layman's life. So it's quite exciting for us also here back home. The tracking center, the command center, ISRO headquarters is in Bengaluru. All positive notes as what we are saying. I just spoke to a few people inside ISRO headquarters. They are saying the mood is upbeat. It was a successful separation between the propulsion module as well as the lunar module. The lander has now completely separated by with the mothership or the propulsion module. It's on the way to land on the lunar surface around 23rd August around 5:45 or 5:35 p.m. in the evening, and all eyes will be for the next 5 days on that lander. Right now it's still rotating or orbiting around the moon surface, and on the final day it's going to move from horizontal direction to the vertical direction. That maneuver is pending, and initially the velocity will have to decrease before landing. This time around they have made quite a number of changes from Chandrayaan 2 to Chandrayaan 3. The landing space itself has been widened. It's 4.5 kilometers in the width, length to 2.5 kilometer in the width. In this square box, the lander can land in any spot. Earlier in Chandrayaan 2, the spot was much smaller. Here they have put on a wider space for the lander to land. And second thing, 2 meters per second was the average velocity impact that they could take, and now they have increased. Even if the acceleration is at 3 meters per second, the rover or the lander can still withstand. And also all the data that they had in Chandrayaan 2 and what exactly the errors were caused, all of them have been addressed in Chandrayaan 3. So the ISRO team here in Bengaluru are quite hopeful that Chandrayaan 3, come what may, will land on August the 23rd on the surface of the moon, and it will be a big successful machine.
Absolutely. The mission has already by and large been successful, as Vikram has just separated from its mothership and is on its way to the moon surface. In about 5 days' time, it's likely to touch down. Thank you very much, Nagarjun. I'm going to cut across to Pramod, who's with us and closely tracking this. Pramod, give us a breakdown in as simple terms as possible on what's the whole frenzy around Chandrayaan 3 landing on the moon. What exactly is the mission? It's going to be there for likely about 14 days is what we believe, and there's going to be some kind of, it's going to be on an expedition to try and find out what the moon looks like, taking pictures of the moon to try and find the soil composition, and if at all there could possibly be life on the moon. That's something that the rover will attempt to understand.
Nabila, for centuries, the moon has been a fascination for the people on Earth because it's the closest a satellite object to Earth, a spatial object. And the interesting factor is that there is a quite possible, like we cannot negate claiming there could not be any life form, but will that be a carbon-based life form or some other kind of life form is something only Chandrayaan 3 can say. And the very important part here is that, just like we mentioned earlier, several nations have done research on the moon. They have even a man has walked on moon, but the interesting factor is that Chandrayaan 1 was the one that confirmed the presence of water on the moon. And now, a lot of discussion, lot of think tanks are going ahead and trying to find out if the moon can be used as a pit stop for further more research, sending mission rockets from there to other places, because now we are discussing, the Earth is people are discussing about asteroid mining and colonization of various planets, be it Mars or anything. So this is where the moon plays a very important factor. But for ISRO has always been a big brother. When every other nation does it in a costly manner, in a coveted manner, ISRO has been a teacher. ISRO has been open to any kind of person with a scientific thought in a learning process. ISRO has done so far, and even various scientific communities believe that whatever research or ISRO finds on the moon, that data will be available for everybody. That will help in understanding the moon, because there are even when we spoke to Somnath earlier, he said that the orbiter and the propulsion module will be going around the moon because the moon's gravitational pull and the moon's electromagnetic pulse is entirely different. It's not exactly the same everywhere. It's kind of has a kind of wavy pattern. So all these things ISRO wants to go there and research. That will be definitely beneficial for the human population, and that's the reason even though Luna is racing with us to reach the moon, the actual entire world is looking to ISRO how it's going to do, because the plan of ISRO is to be cost effective, and if ISRO achieves, it will pave the way for other small nations as well to even dream of sending something to the moon, and that's the reason this mission is very important, Nabila.
All right, so how long will this experiment go on for? Is there a likelihood for it to go beyond the prescribed time? And Chandrayaan 2, we believe, even as much as people say it may have been a failure, what we know is that it had lost communication. So, of course, eventually they couldn't progress with the mission because communication was lost. But so far, Chandrayaan 3's communication with its rover and lander has been on point. Any word on how long will this expedition go on to?
Nabila, in scientific terms, it's not we would call it more like it was a hard landing, not a soft landing, because the Chandrayaan 2 orbiter is still functioning. It's sending back data. So that way, Chandrayaan 2 is still active. And that's the reason we are not sending an orbiter this time, only a propulsion module. Even this propulsion module is carrying a shape sensor on it to actually do research and collect data from the moon's orbit about the Earth. So that is also we are not wasting anyway. And the aspect here is that this particular lander and the rover will be functional for one lunar day, that is 14 days together. That is a period when it can use its solar panels and generate energy. That way it will be used, and the orbiter, the propulsion module, will be still functioning as a mode of communication between the lander and the space center, Deep Space Research Center of ISRO in Bengaluru. That way it will also be used. So the orbiter is going to be functional, Chandrayaan 2 is functional, and the lander and the rover will be functional for 14 days, Nabila.
All right, so this is really the penultimate step. If you really see, the final countdown actually begins now. And billions of dreams riding on the back of the Chandrayaan 3, Pramod, do you agree that people of India are very, very keenly watching this? And this really brings another feather on the hat of India's mission. And also give us a sense of Russia trying to race to the lunar surface with their lunar mission called Luna. Is it true that they're going to be landing before us?
Well, they have used an entirely different kind of rocket, and they're the capacity of the lift and the propellant they are using is entirely of a large amount. So that's the reason they are able to reach a little faster than us, and they are going to land as well. But that particular lander, that particular one, it's going to have entirely. Russia says it's going to have an entirely different set of research methods and everything. It has nothing to do with what ISRO is doing. But the interesting aspect is that ISRO is something. The Chandrayaan 3 is something the entire world is watching, because like we said, the developed nations have an unfortunate habit of coveting the data and keeping it to themselves. But ISRO has broken that barrier. ISRO has been friendly to nations who want to do research, and ISRO, imagine using PSLV and GSLV, sending satellites of other nations. That way, even recently, ISRO went ahead and decided to go ahead and share information about satellite launch and such. So that way, ISRO has definitely been a big brother, and that's the reason. Even though Luna is going to land, it's going to if you ask me, it's going to be another day, another news. But ISRO's Chandrayaan launching, it's something like a dream of a billion people around the world, and everybody's going to keep watching. And not just that, they're all going to keep praying that this landing, this soft landing occurs, and that way ISRO paves a way to the moon and beyond.
Absolutely. Pramod, if you could really give us a sense of this very image that we're seeing on our screens here. It's shared by Team ISRO. The first image that comes in right after the Vikram lander has separated from the rover. This is the image that's been put out at 1:15 precisely by Team ISRO. Could you explain to us this image? What does it really signify? This is certainly a momentous occasion, undoubtedly, for the space agency and for India alike, as this is the third attempt, Chandrayaan 3, where the actual challenge for ISRO begins now, as it gets closer to the moon in about 5 days' time.
Nabila, I've been watching the exact scientists who've been behind ISRO. And one thing I've learned from them is that be it Chandrayaan, be it GSLV, be it PSLV, until the mission is over, they do not take any sort of rest. I've seen them work like a clockwork for 24/7, and I'm pretty sure that's what they are doing currently. And that's the reason we have a large success rate with all the missions. Chandrayaan 2 is not a complete failure. It is a partial success. Only the landing was a hard landing, and that's the reason we have full trust over whatever ISRO does. ISRO has this habit of teaching, learning from everything they do, and that's the reason. Even like after around August 5th, when there was the lunar insertion occurred, the first images from the moon were absolutely brilliant. Those were actually hasty images showing the surface of the moon. So much accuracy and how the moon surface looked. The actual moon surface is covered with craters because of it being repeatedly battered by meteoroids and asteroids. All those recorded, and those images and visuals have been passed on to Chandrayaan 3's module as well. That way the landing is going to occur. The brilliant part here is going to be how ISRO is calculatively going to use the reverse thruster technology to reduce the speed. Just like the scientists said earlier, the speed had the deceleration must be reduced, and that way the landing should occur. So that is where I'm pretty sure the scientists, even though everything has been done in a calculated manner, are going to have sleepless nights because, like I said earlier, billions of people have kept their hope and dreams on them, and ISRO knows the weight. They are carrying that particular weight, and they are working towards it, Nabila.
All right, as we see, ISRO has put out that image there, that very special image of the Vikram lander separating from the rover, and that really signifies that this has been largely a successful mission for Chandrayaan 3 by and far. And now it will either way move towards the moon's surface, even if all the sensors and 2 of its engines do not work. Is that true, Pramod? All right, do stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across to Nagarjun speaking to Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Listen in.
Develop, manufacture, manage these complex, multi-complexity projects of the kind that a space mission involves is certainly something that we should all be very proud of. And in a lot of ways, it is also a symbol of India's growing capability and capacity in these areas. We are the 5th largest economy in the world. We are the top 7 countries in terms of making aircraft carriers. We are the top 4 countries in terms of space. So we are clearly in the leadership as a nation, as an ecosystem of young Indians, of startups and large companies like ISRO in terms of shaping the future of tech, shaping technologies of the future. And I hope Chandrayaan 3 works out to be a very successful mission in terms of reaching the lunar surface.
Prime Minister had come for the Chandrayaan 2 landing to Bangalore. Chandrayaan 3 has been keenly watching, is what we are told. What's the mood among the top officials in Delhi?
Well, the mood amongst the top of the government will be the same mood amongst every citizen of India. This is a project that every citizen looks forward to with hope and anticipation. And it is certainly a project that fills every Indian with pride. Our Prime Minister certainly takes the responsibility and ownership and takes a lot of the credit for giving us all the confidence that we can create, build and execute these complex projects today, almost at league with the other countries of the world.
आखिरी सवाल सर, आज सेपरेशन हुआ है, क्या लग रहा है सर आपके मन में जो बड़ा मेनूवर था आज हुआ है?
देखिए, वो सेपरेशन हो गया है और जो हर भारतवासी के मन में है एक बहुत एक तरह से गौरव की एक फीलिंग है कि हम ऐसे देशों में से हैं जो 3-4 गिने चुने देश हैं जो ऐसे कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रोजेक्ट्स डिज़ाइन कर सकते हैं, लॉन्च कर सकते हैं और एग्जीक्यूट कर सकते हैं. तो मैं बहुत विश्वास के साथ कह सकता हूं कि ये भारत जो नया भारत है पिछले 9 साल में बने हैं, ये आगे ही बढ़ेगा.
Thank you so much.
Joining us right now.
All right, you had Rajiv Chandrasekhar Union Minister, who speaks about India's prowess when it comes to space missions, and this is going to certainly boost India's image globally, as we know that there is immense lunar traffic. Multiple countries attempting at moon missions. India has been one of the first to be attempting this Chandrayaan 1, 2 and 3. So far, the Indian space mission has been highly lauded globally. So as our reporters tell us very clearly, Chandrayaan 2 also wasn't a complete failure. It was it landed, but it was a hard crash landing. But Chandrayaan 3 by far has been on point. It's as per design, it's now very close to the moon's surface. In about 5 days' time, the rover will be landing on the moon. They're attempting a soft landing. And all right, and once it lands, it's going to be carrying out its experiments on understanding the surface of the moon, clicking, of course, pictures of the moon, what the moon really looks like up close, and understanding the soil composition, and like Pramod told us, to see if there is any kind of trace of life, of any kind of life that the moon holds. Pramod is with us for a little more. Pramod, tell us about the three payloads that the Chandrayaan 3 carries with it, and do break it down for us what it really means in this moon mission.
Well, the entire mission Chandrayaan 3 had one propulsion unit, which has now separated from the lander module. This is a module that is going to make the actual landing. A soft landing is what ISRO is going to go for. It almost has 6 different...
Right, stay with us. Jitendra Singh speaking to Aaj Tak.
लेकिन इससे ज़्यादा बधाइयाँ तो अब 23 तारीख को मिलेगी ना जितेंद्र जी?
जी हाँ, हमें पूरा विश्वास है 100% बल्कि 110%, और सारी दुनिया की निगाहें इस समय चंद्रयान पर है, और 23 तारीख को लगभग सायंकाल 5:30 पर चंद्रयान की लैंडिंग भी उसी प्रकार से शेड्यूल की गई है।
तो आप लगातार उन वैज्ञानिकों से टच में हैं जो इस मिशन से जुड़े हुए हैं?
जी हाँ, बिल्कुल। और ये मिशन चूंकि श्रीहरिकोटा और इसरो की एक परंपरा है कि यदि कोई वहां से वैज्ञानिक या चेयरमैन अथवा कोई अधिकारी सेवा निवृत्त हो जाता है तो फिर भी वो उस मिशन से अपना संबंध नहीं तोड़ता। और एक बड़ी सुखद बात यह कि जितने हमारे पूर्व चेयरमैन हैं, डॉक्टर के राधाकृष्णन, डॉक्टर किरण कुमार, सभी लोग इसमें एकजुट होकर के इसका फॉलोअप भी कर रहे हैं, अपने अपने इनपुट्स भी दे रहे हैं और इसकी मॉनिटरिंग भी कर रहे हैं।
और शुरुआत से ही लग रहा था कि ये मिशन सक्सेसफुल होगा, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से इसका प्रक्षेपण हुआ, अब तक जिस तरीके से ये आगे बढ़ा है, कामयाब रहा है, आज भी कामयाबी का एक स्टेप इसने हासिल किया। हमेशा से ही लग रहा था कि सब कुछ पॉजिटिव रहेगा जितेंद्र जी?
निश्चय, क्योंकि बहुत सारी इसमें इस तरह की भी कुछ एक इस तरह से भी कुछ एक चीजें विकसित की गई हैं जो शायद दूसरे देशों को की तरफ से नहीं हो पाई थी। और उस तरह से कहा जा सकता है कि एक तरह से ये एक मिशन कई और मिशन की तुलना में ज्यादा सुपीरियर भी रहा है। और ये बात इससे भी प्रमाणित होती है कि भले ही पहला मानव जो चांद की धरती पर उतरा था वो अमेरिका की तरफ से गए थे नील आर्मस्ट्रांग सन 1969 में, लेकिन ये चंद्रयान ही थी जो श्रृंखला का पहला हमारा चंद्रयान 1 था जो वहां से पानी अथवा जल के चित्र लेकर के आया था। पहली बार उसने दुनिया को ये एहसास करवाया कि चंद्रमा पर पानी भी उपलब्ध है और कहीं ना कहीं प्रत्यक्ष अथवा अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से मानव जीवन की संभावना भी हो सकती है। और ये चंद्रयान तीसरा जो हमारा गया है ये 23 तारीख को साउथ पोल पर लैंड होने वाला है, जहाँ पर के अनुमान ये है कि पानी के छोटे छोटे क्रेटर्स भी हैं, तो उसको लेकर के आगे के स्तर के प्रयोग करने में भी सुविधा रहेगी।
तो आप स्वयं जाएंगे बेंगलुरु और इसरो के वैज्ञानिकों को कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट करेंगे 23 तारीख को?
जी हाँ, वहाँ तो ये तो सारा एक तरह का परिवार है इसरो का। जैसे मैंने कहा, यहाँ कोई सेवानिवृत्त नहीं होता, कोई ट्रांसफर नहीं होता, सारे अपना जीवन इसी में लगा देते हैं।
और जितेंद्र जी, जिस तरीके से अभी जो सैटेलाइट इमेजेस आई उसको देखकर किस तरीके का एहसास हुआ? क्योंकि ये इमेजेस कई सारे वैज्ञानिकों के लिए बहुत मायने रखती हैं, बहुत ही अहम इमेज है ये।
बिल्कुल ठीक कह रही हैं आप, ये न केवल भारत तक सीमित रहेंगी बल्कि सारे विश्व है, क्योंकि विश्व को भी जो इनपुट चंद्रयान के माध्यम से उपलब्ध हो रहे हैं वो नासा जैसी जो प्रीमियर एजेंसी है अमेरिका की, उनके पास भी उपलब्ध नहीं थे। और इसीलिए बहुत ही दिलचस्पी और उत्सुकता के साथ सारे विश्व के वैज्ञानिक और आम जनता भी चंद्रयान पर निगाहें करें।
तो लगातार प्रधानमंत्री को भी अपडेट दिया जा रहा है इस बारे में, कहाँ तक चंद्रयान 3 पहुंचा है?
उनको सही बहुत रुचि है। मैं तो ये कहूँगा प्रधानमंत्री के प्रोत्साहन के कारण ही आज संभव हुआ है। जो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आज से 3 वर्ष पूर्व अंतरिक्ष के विज्ञान को के विभाग को प्राइवेट पार्टिसिपेशन के लिए खोल दिया, वरना आपको याद होगा आज से 3 वर्ष पहले तक किसी मीडिया वाले को श्रीहरिकोटा के फाटक से अंदर झांकने तक की इजाजत नहीं थी। लेकिन आज ये आलम है कि जिस दिन ये लॉन्चिंग हुआ है उस दिन लगभग 1000 मीडिया पर्सन अंदर उस परिसर में मौजूद थे। और ये सब इसलिए संभव हुआ कि प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक बहुत ही क्रांतिकारी निर्णय लेते हुए गुजरे वक्त के टैबूज को तोड़ करके एक बड़ा ही साहसी निर्णय लिया और पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टिसिपेशन के लिए बहुत ही अपने पास इसरो में
23 तारीख की क्या तैयारी है जितेंद्र जी?
23 तारीख को इसकी जब लैंडिंग हो जाएगी उसके बाद ये काम उसके कुछ एक घंटे के बाद ही बाहर निकलेगा, धरती अपने चित्र लेगा, कुछ एक्सपेरिमेंट्स इन सिटू वहां पे करेंगे। वो लैंडिंग के कुछ एक घंटे के बाद अगला क्रम शुरू होगा।
ठीक है, एक बार फिर से आपको अग्रिम बधाइयां।
उसमें जो एग्जैक्ट टाइमिंग है
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे बातचीत करने के लिए जितेंद्र सिंह जी, विज्ञान और प्रौद्योगिकी मंत्री।
All right, I'm going to quickly cut across to K7 joining us on the line, who's Indian space scientist himself, very closely monitoring the Chandrayaan 3's progress. Mr. Sivan, a huge congratulations for so far the Chandrayaan 3 being successful and separating. The lander has finally separated from the rover. Rover now descending down towards the moon. It's looking very positive so far.
It's a very good event. We are very happy to see that it is a very critical event has happened smoothly without any hitch, this one. And now it is a next phase of operations will start for landing, this one.
Sir, you know, so far we are seeing all the bright side that it's managed to complete the 5th successful maneuver around the moon, and now it's going to be descending towards the moon. It's going to be touching the surface of the moon in about 5 days' time. But if you can see, Mr. Sivan, you've been the former chief of ISRO. You've known exactly what the issue was with Chandrayaan 2 was. With Chandrayaan 3, as per challenges, do you see anything, or so far it's been a smooth ride?
Actually, that is whatever that mistakes happened in the Chandrayaan 2 have been corrected in Chandrayaan 3. Also, that additional design margins have been improved. Also, that wherever the redundancy is not there, now it's put it. That way, we have more confidence on Chandrayaan 3 to be successful.
Right. For just the layman, Mr. Sivan, if you could break it down for us, what exactly does Chandrayaan 3 aim to establish? While the rover lands on the moon, how long is that rover going to be there conducting its experiment and expedition? And what exactly is it aiming to find?
This once it is landing, it will be operating for 14 days, 14 Earth days. Is equal to 1 lunar day. And during that time, that it will do a lot of new scientific experiments. And being landing near the South Pole region, we are expecting some new science is going to come as outcome. That way, along with that, India will be acquiring a new technology for landing. So this is the type of advantages or milestone we will be able to achieve.
So if we're really looking at Chandrayaan 3 mission closely, then we're going to first of all find out if there could be any possible life on the moon, and even in terms of further scientific study on planets, etc., life apart from on Earth will be established, and this would be one of the bases for it.
Yes, we are not looking for any life existence and all, but at least a new findings will be. We are hoping that we will be getting a new findings because this is an unexplored region. So we may get something new than what we are understanding till now about the moon. That way it will be beneficial, this mission. Okay.
So Chandrayaan 1, to Chandrayaan 3, could you give us a quick glimpse as to what the 3 moon missions of India have managed to find? We know what happened with Chandrayaan 2, 1 and 3. If you can tell us, give us a quick sense of what Chandrayaan 1 intended to, what Chandrayaan 1 found and Chandrayaan 3 is intending to find now.
So Chandrayaan 1 was actually the orbiter mission, and it found a new finding about the water on the moon. There's a breakthrough finding by Chandrayaan 1. And Chandrayaan 2 and Chandrayaan 3, their objectives are same. And Chandrayaan 3 actually is going to land that unexplored regions of the South Pole region. That way, it's something new findings is expected to come from this mission.
Right, Mr. Sivan, we have Pramod Madhav also joining us. Pramod, jump in. He's been tracking the developments with ISRO and Chandrayaan very closely. Pramod.
Sivan sir, congratulations. And about this particular mission, the lander alone is carrying 4 sensors. The rover is carrying 2 sensors. And like any particular reason, we are interested about the seismic activity on the moon surface, and what sort of elements are we trying to confirm that could be on the moon surface, sir?
No, that is, all the instruments are designed very carefully to find out that a new findings, if at all anything is there on the surface of the moon. So we are expecting that, because it's an unexplored region, we are expecting some new findings which is expected to come from this mission. Okay.
Sivan, is it true that now that the lander has separated from the rover, even if the engine fails or if the sensors fail, it's likely to be a successful landing? It will land irrespective?
No, I cannot say like that. Yes, for any mission to be success, engine has to operate, sensor has to fail. Have to work. With the successful operation of the sensor and engine, only the things will happen. And only thing is here that we are added redundancy. That if one sensor failure, there is another sensor available. But we cannot say that without engine and without the sensor, the mission will be success. It's impossible. This one. That is, you are talking about the controllability and observability. So our observability is not there, mission is not there. So sensor has to be there. But only thing is we added the extra sensor so that we, in case one fails, something else will come and help that way. We cannot say that if everything is failing, still mission success. It's not possible.
Okay. Sivan sir, with the landing of Chandrayaan 3 and its success, how is it going to expand the research on space? How ISRO is going to go ahead with the research on the moon surface? And in the near future, what kind of more plans does ISRO have with the moon, sir?
Sir, we have to wait and see. Yes, we are going to an unexplored region. We do not know what are things available there. And by doing the science experiments only, we will understand what really will be there. And the new things, it will be explored, discovered after that only. So we have to wait for this experiment to happen.
Okay. So many countries are trying to to land on the moon surface. Russia in the latest are racing to land on the moon before us. Do you want to comment on that?
No, that Russian mission is going on its own. Indian mission is on its own. We cannot compare to the two missions. So definitely they will have their own objectives and we have our own objectives. That way only we can say.
Absolutely, okay. Mr. Sivan, you are one of the men behind Chandrayaan 3. So far, it's been a great success. A big congratulations to you, and thank you very much for speaking to India today. All right, you see on our screens here, that's the first image that ISRO has released with the Vikram lander separating from the rover. The rover now is on its way. In about 5 days' time, it's likely to be touching the moon's surface. Its expedition will continue for at least 14 days, and India Today brings you every aspect of that story as India accomplishes another feather on its hat, another milestone. Stay with us, slipping into a short break. We'll be right back with a lot more.
a viral video for 2 people to be arrested after 77 days. How did the situation spiral out in Haryana so dangerously out of control? Where was the police? Fawzia ji, I promised you, ek din aapka beta aayega.
Yeah, the promise is fulfilled. Thankful to you.
Fitness certificate ke bagair bridge reopen karna, ye kiski jawabdehi, sir? A 3-time MLA is beaten up in Imphal almost to death.
Till today, my tears can't stop. I'm eagerly waiting for my husband's recovery.
The beating heart of every story is on news today. With me, Rajdeep Sardesai, Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. only on India Today TV.
If you look the hindsight of it, it is very clear that the Congress government in Karnataka wants to please their ally, who is part of India, the so-called India, INDIA, DMK, and they have yielded to the pressure of DMK against the interest of the people of Karnataka. This is what is going to happen if INDA comes to power. So the interest of Karnataka will be jeopardized 100%, and people of Karnataka, more so Cauvery Basin people, will fight for it.
ರೈತರು ನಮ್ಮ ರೈತರು ಯಾಕೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟರು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಬೀಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೈಯ ಬೀಗ ಬೊಮ್ಮಾಯಿಯವ್ರ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬೀಗ ಇದೆ. ಬೊಮ್ಮಾಯಿಯವರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾನೂನು ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ರಾಜಕಾರಣ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ರಾಜಕಾರಣ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ನಾವು ರಾಜಕಾರಣ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟು ಯಾರ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಈಗ ನೀರು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಈಗ ಬೇಡ.
ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಳೆ ಕೊರತೆ ಆಗಿದೆ.
ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಇಡೀ 30 ವರ್ಷ 40 ವರ್ಷ ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಈ ವರ್ಷನೇ ನಮಗೆ ಮಳೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ರೈತರು ನಾವು ಮತ್ತೆ ತಿಳಿಸಿದ್ದೀವಿ.
Net employee addition has dropped a combined 135% at TCS, Wipro and HCL Tech. This means where the companies had added 31,000 employees this quarter last year, this year they've seen a fall of nearly 11,000 employees. This is in line with the muted financial numbers shared by these companies. Akanksha Chandrayaan gets us a deep dive into this trend. A closer look. Akanksha?
That is right, Abha. Hiring across major Indian IT companies has dampened in Q1 FY24 as compared to the year-ago quarter. If we take a close look at the numbers, we see that TCS only added around 500 people to the company in Q1 FY24, while this number was over 28 times bigger last year. TCS added over 14,000 employees in Q1 FY23. At Wipro, this trend seems to have worsened. In Q1 FY24, Wipro's headcount actually reduced by around 8,000 employees, while in Q1 FY23, they had added over 15,000 people to the organization. HCL Tech was also in line with this trend. The company's headcount went down by over 2,500 people in Q1 FY24, whereas they had added around 2,100 people in the year-ago quarter. This slowdown is in line with the broader slowdown in the industry, which is caused by the cutbacks in IT and discretionary spending across the world.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
A very good afternoon. You're watching India Today. I'm Nabila Jamal. A huge mission that India has accomplished, a milestone. Chandrayaan 3 has managed to inch closer to the moon with the lander separating from the rover successfully. Taking you through all the updates here, the headlines first. India achieving that mega moon milestone as the lander Vikram separates from the mothership. ISRO shares the first image of mega milestone. Chandrayaan's next stop is the moon. Battle for Cauvery water boils yet again. Karnataka to release water to Tamil Nadu. DK Shivakumar admits insufficient water for Karnataka but guarantees water release to Tamil Nadu. Lokayukta raids across multiple Karnataka districts. Bengaluru officer has been caught taking 5 lakh bribe. Gold jewellery seized from Chitradurga engineer. PDP chief's no-holds-barred attack on Modi government. Listen, in fact, while speaking to India Today's Mashmi likens India to Pakistan and Syria, says BJP is pushing Hindu Rashtra and hatred.
What is happening in India? This is something that is happening in Syria, where people say Allahu Akbar and then kill. Here they say Jai Shri Ram and lynch people.
Gadar 2 breaks Pathan's record, becomes only Bollywood film to score 30 crores plus on its 6th day of release.
मैं निकला ओ गड्डी लेके और रस्ते पर ओ सड़क में एक मोड़ आया मैं वक्त दिल छोड़
All right, now the Indian Space Research Organization has achieved a new milestone. Vikram, the lander, and Pragyan, the rover, has managed to successfully separate from its propulsion system. Post-separation, landing module is set to descend to a slightly lower orbit tomorrow at 4 p.m. in a deboosting operation. Now, remember, Chandrayaan 3 spacecraft is set for a scheduled moon landing on the 23rd of August, about 5 days from now, aiming to become the 4th nation to achieve this milestone after United States, Russia and China. Now, the Vikram lander has been named after Vikram Sarabhai, father of the Indian space program, and designed to function for at least 14 days on the moon. It will be engaged in exploring the lunar's South Pole, making India the first country to reach the South Pole if this is a successful mission. Pragyan rover is a 6-wheeled vehicle which has instruments configured with payloads that will roll out to conduct experiments on the moon's surface for about 14 days.
It's a very good event. We are very happy to see that it is a very critical event has happened smoothly without any hitch, this one. And now it is a next phase of operations will start for landing. So whatever that mistakes happened in the Chandrayaan 2 have been corrected in Chandrayaan 3. Also, that additional design margins have been improved. Also, that wherever the redundancy is not there, now it's put it. That way, we have more confidence on Chandrayaan 3 to be successful.
In a lot of ways, it is also a symbol of India's growing capability and capacity in these areas. We are the 5th largest economy in the world. We are the top 7 countries in terms of making aircraft carriers. We are the top 4 countries in terms of space. So we are clearly in the leadership as a nation, as an ecosystem of young Indians, of startups and large companies like ISRO in terms of shaping the future of tech, shaping technologies of the future. And I hope Chandrayaan 3 works out to be a very successful mission in terms of reaching the lunar surface.
It's a very good event. We are very happy to see that it is a very critical event has happened smoothly without any hitch, this one. And now it is a next phase of operations will start for landing. So whatever that mistakes happened in the Chandrayaan 2 have been corrected in Chandrayaan 3. Also, that additional design margins have been improved. Also, that wherever the redundancy is not there, now it's put it. That way, we have more confidence on Chandrayaan 3 to be successful.
All right, that was Siva, who's in fact the former chief of ISRO, explaining to us that the Chandrayaan 3 basically aims at finding what the moon's surface has to offer, including its soil composition, to see what exactly the moon even looks like. Photographs will be taken by that rover as well. The Chandrayaan rover, which is a 6-wheeled vehicle, will be on the surface of the moon, the South Pole, for about 14 days. This is a huge mission accomplished, at least so far, for Chandrayaan 3. The previous Chandrayaan 2, unfortunately, had a crash landing, but this time Chandrayaan 3 is really aiming at a soft landing, and so far their communication with the lander and the rover for now have been intact. So in about 5 days' time, we can expect Chandrayaan 3, the mission, to successfully land on the moon. This is after much efforts. The Vikram lander has successfully separated from the spacecraft. And those are the images that you see. The first image that was in fact put out by ISRO itself. You see on the center of our screens that we're showing to you how the Vikram lander has separated from its rover, the Chandrayaan rover. The rover will now be inching closer to the moon. It will be lowering itself towards the surface of the moon, and 23rd of August is likely the time or likely the day that it will descend, that it will touch down. So it's hugely successful and a big feather on India's hat. This also makes India the 4th country after United States, Russia, China to be landing on the moon and also carrying out its mission. Of course, Russia at this point is also attempting to launch their own moon mission and racing to land in the moon even before India. But nonetheless, India's moon mission has been strategic and, as per design, has been successful. Now, Union Minister Jitendra Singh has spoken to India today. Here's what he said.
हमें पूरा विश्वास है 100% बल्कि 110%, और सारी दुनिया की निगाहें इस समय चंद्रयान पर है और 23 तारीख को लगभग सायंकाल 5:30-35 पर चंद्रयान की लैंडिंग भी उसी प्रकार से शेड्यूल की गई है।
तो आप लगातार उन वैज्ञानिकों से टच में हैं जो इस मिशन से जुड़े हुए हैं?
जी हाँ बिल्कुल। और ये मिशन चूंकि श्रीहरिकोटा और इसरो की एक परंपरा है कि यदि कोई वहां से वैज्ञानिक या चेयरमैन अथवा कोई अधिकारी सेवा निवृत्त हो जाता है तो फिर भी वो उस मिशन से अपना संबंध नहीं तोड़ता। और एक बड़ी सुखद बात यह कि जितने हमारे पूर्व चेयरमैन हैं, डॉक्टर के राधाकृष्ण, डॉक्टर किरण कुमार, सभी लोग इसमें एकजुट होकर के इसका फॉलोअप भी कर रहे हैं, अपने अपने इनपुट्स भी दे रहे हैं और इसकी मॉनिटरिंग भी कर रहे हैं।
और शुरुआत से ही लग रहा था कि ये मिशन सक्सेसफुल होगा, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से इसका प्रक्षेपण हुआ, अब तक जिस तरीके से ये आगे बढ़ा है, कामयाब रहा है, आज भी कामयाबी का एक स्टेप इसने हासिल किया। हमेशा से ही लग रहा था कि सब कुछ पॉजिटिव रहेगा। जितेंद्र जी,
निश्चय, क्योंकि बहुत सारी इसमें इस तरह की भी कुछ एक इस तरह से भी कुछ एक चीजें विकसित की गई हैं जो शायद दूसरे देशों को की तरफ से नहीं हो पाई थी, और उस तरह से कहा जा सकता है कि एक तरह से ये एक मिशन कई और मिशन की तुलना में ज्यादा सुपीरियर भी रहा है।
All right, now let me give you a quick lowdown on what the Vikram lander is all about that carries the Chandrayaan rover on it. As it's successfully separated and as the Chandrayaan rover is now inching closer to the moon, in 5 days' time it should likely be landing on the moon. Here's a quick insight and understanding into what this mission is all about. First of all, Vikram lander is named after Vikram Sarabhai. As we know, Sarabhai is the father of the Indian space program, so this was decided to be named on him. Now, we know that this space mission that began about nearly 34 days ago, now in about 5 days' time will be landing on the moon as per planned. It's designed to stay on the moon for about 14 days to carry out its mission, to understand what the moon's surface really looks like. Now, the number of sensors to ensure safe touchdown. It can generate about 938 watt power. It will be engaged in exploring lunar's south pole. And let me be clear here, this will be the first country, India will be the first country to touch the moon's lunar south pole. Countries like the United States, China and Russia that have already explored the moon in the past haven't really reached the South Pole as yet. India will be the first if Chandrayaan 3 is completely successful. All right, here's some more visuals, all introduced by ISRO itself that we're bringing to you. And that's exactly what the rover is going to be looking like. And that's basically, of course, a video that's now put out by ISRO showing how the rover will be landing on the moon and then will be maneuvering around the South Pole to do its expedition, carrying out its experiment on trying to find out the moon's soil composition. Will also be taking images of the moon, our very own images. There have been multiple images of the moon from various countries that have come out. India's mission will be, of course, personal to India. These images will be precious as it is India's moon mission that has been successful in bringing us back all that research material. Now, from 2008, when the first Chandrayaan mission was launched, to 2019, when Chandrayaan 2 took to the skies, our ISRO heroes have worked so hard, really, to ensure that our tryst with the moon has been a successful one. As we count down to Chandrayaan 3 now and its soft landing, here's a quick look at how the previous Chandrayaan missions really worked out. Have a look.
3, 2, 1.
The clock ticked, and at exactly 2:43 p.m. on 22nd July 2019, India took a giant leap to the moon. For the second time, Indian Space Research Organization created history by the successful launch of Chandrayaan 2.
L110 engine started. अभी अनाउंस किया गया कि L110 जो कि हमारा दूसरा मुख्य रॉकेट है उसका इग्निशन हो गया है उसके दोनों इंजन प्रज्वलित हो गए हैं.
This was India's second mission to the moon after the successful voyage of Chandrayaan in 2008.
Ignition sequence normal and liftoff normal.
GSLV Mk3 blasted off to space carrying a Land Rover, orbiter and a lander with a speed of 11 kilometers per second from the Satish Dhawan Space Research Center in Sriharikota.
It is the beginning of a historical journey of India towards moon and to land at a place near South Pole to carry out scientific experiments to explore unexplored.
Within minutes, Chandrayaan 2 was successfully placed into the Earth's orbit. As the space vehicle beamed back a perfect report card, Indian space scientists at Mission Control erupted with joy.
7.4 kilometers and the velocity was nearly 140. So the Vikram lander has successfully completed the rough braking phase.
The mission was expected to take 48 days in total to land its rover Pragyan on the south pole of the moon, roughly on 14th September 2019. But then, on 10th September, days before the final landing on moon, ISRO announced that it had lost contact with lander Vikram. ISRO scientists were disappointed. It was an emotional moment. Chandrayaan 2 suffered various delays and revisions a decade after the successful maiden Indian moon mission, Chandrayaan 1. In October 2008, ISRO successfully launched Chandrayaan 1. On 22nd October 2008, Chandrayaan mission with a lunar orbiter and impactor was launched using PSLV XL from Satish Dhawan Space Center at Sriharikota.
Ignition sequence normal and liftoff normal.
It was a big boost to Indian space exploration history. India researched and developed indigenous technology to explore the moon with Chandrayaan 1. 2 weeks after its launch, it was inserted into lunar orbit on 8th November 2008. On 14th November 2008, the Moon Impact Probe separated from the Chandrayaan orbiter and struck the South Pole in a controlled manner. India became the 4th country to place its flag insignia on the Moon, near the crater Shackleton. The location of impact was named Jawahar Point. Though Chandrayaan 1 was planned to survey the lunar surface for 2 years, but after a successful year of transmitting data and detecting presence of lunar water, it stopped communicating on 28 August 2009. 312 days of Chandrayaan 1 was a celebration of ISRO's hard work and indigenous technological advancement in space exploration. Nearly 7 years later, NASA, with a ground-based radar system, relocated Chandrayaan 1 in its lunar orbit. Today, its orbit varies between 150 and 270 kilometers in altitude every 2 years around the Moon.
All right, this is another video that's now just been introduced by ISRO, basically graphically depicting how exactly the rover will be landing on the moon. It makes us so happy and proud to say that Chandrayaan 3's journey so far has been a success. At least in the next 5 days, it's likely that the Pragyan rover, that's precisely what it looks like, a 6-wheeled rover, will be landing on the moon's surface, will be there for about 14 days on the moon's surface, and this very rover will be clicking images of the moon. And like I did mention, there are several images of the moon clicked by various countries, including the United States, China and Russia. 3 countries in the past, apart from India, who have already explored the moon. They have taken multiple photographs, but this will be personal to India's archive. Of course, it is India's mission indeed. And so far, the Chandrayaan 3 has managed to separate from, the rover has separated from the lander, and it's now on its way, descending towards the moon's surface. And this is what is depicted in this video here as well. That's the separation that happened in just about 20 minutes ago. And now the rover is descending towards the moon's surface, where it will be landing, taking photographs, understanding the soil composition of the moon, and in every way trying to establish what exactly does the moon's surface hold. This will be huge basis for future scientific experiments and space expeditions that India may venture into going forward. I'm going to quickly cut across to Shilpa Nair, who's also been tracking this Chandrayaan 3's India's moon mission, Chandrayaan 3, very closely. Shilpa, tell us more. The anticipation has been built. The countdown actually truly begins from now.
In fact, we are inching, closer towards the lunar surface. Chandrayaan 3 is inching closer. With each process, but each step, ISRO is, of course, successfully completing all the steps that is required for the big landing that has been scheduled on August 23rd. It will happen around 5:30 to 5:45 p.m. That is what ISRO scientists are telling us. But today, of course, a very important maneuver was performed by the ISRO scientists. That was, of course, the separation of the propulsion module and also the lander module. And that has also been successful. So tomorrow, they will be lowering the orbit of the lander module. This is a deboosting exercise that they undertake, and that is scheduled for tomorrow. But the propulsion module will continue to orbit around the moon, and this will, of course, conduct various studies, for example, studying about the Earth's atmosphere, etc. So that will continue. It will continue to orbit for several months and years. That is what ISRO has said. But definitely, every step through the way, ISRO is making sure that nothing goes wrong, and it is going as per the plan. And the big next big moment, of course, will be August 23rd, when Chandrayaan 3 finally makes a landing on the lunar surface.
All right, Shilpa, stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across to Pramod Madhav as well, joining us. Pramod, as we know that the separation has been successful so far, and tomorrow will be the deboosting process. Give us a sense at 4 p.m. tomorrow, what exactly is going to happen when we believe the rover is going to be lowering its orbit?
Well, Nabila, now what will happen is that they will have another kind of like a reduction of the orbit by which the actual propulsion module will be circling in a different orbit, and the actual landing module will have a different elliptical orbit with, as per the schematics from ISRO, its closest point to the moon surface would be 30 kilometers and its farthest point will be 100 kilometers. This is what they need to achieve, and that process will initiate from tomorrow onwards, while the propulsion orbit will be in a circular orbit around the moon, entirely different ones and entirely different distance from the moon surface. This is required to exactly reduce the actual distance by which from that sphere distance later on 23rd the lander will be brought down to the moon surface in the process of soft landing, Nabila.
All right, so it's certainly something that India takes immense pride in. What we know of that ISRO has been working tirelessly for 34 days that this has been on the mission that was launched, and they've been very closely monitoring it. But the actual challenge for them begins now. What we know, Pramod, is that the next 5 days is going to be very crucial for ISRO as they maneuver the movements of the rover.
It absolutely is, because the propulsion module, the lander module and the rover all have sensors on it, and like Dr. Sivan said, each and every sensor would be working on its own. For example, the propulsion module shape sensor had already initiated its own work, that is to actually monitor certain activities of the Earth, how Earth acts, as it is the only planet known to humankind with life form on it. That's the reason there is a separate shape sensor on the propulsion module itself. The lander, however, will carry 4 sensors on its own, including a seismic activity sensing sensor and various elements detecting sensor. And the lander, it carries 2 separate sensors on its own, about researching about the ions on the surface of the moon, because the moon does not have an atmosphere like Earth. It does not have a protecting layer like an ozone layer or such, and it's directly in contact with the space. These sensors from the surface of the moon would provide accurate data, and that's the reason all these sensors have to be during soft landing process it should not get damaged. That's the reason ISRO scientists will be having sleepless nights for the whole process to make sure that the mission is this time a complete success, Nabila.
Absolutely. We're just praying that Chandrayaan 3 is an absolute success, and as per plan will be soft landing on the moon in about 5 days' time. Of course, India today has been on point with every aspect of the Chandrayaan 3's journey. We're going to continue our rolling coverage right after a short break. Until then, I'm going to try and explore the moon that I'm on. Stay with us.
In politics, everyone has an opinion, but I have the data. Whose stock is rising? Whose graph is falling? Track India's political stock exchange. Unmatched, unmissable data analytics. The only show on News TV where numbers do the talking. India's most credible poll tracker. The political stock exchange. With Rahul Kamal, only on India Today.
If you look the hindsight of it, it is very clear that the Congress government in Karnataka wants to please their ally, who is part of India, the so-called India, INDIA, DMK, and they have yielded to the pressure of DMK against the interest of the people of Karnataka. This is what is going to happen if INDA comes to power. So the interest of Karnataka will be jeopardized 100%. And people of Karnataka, more so Cauvery Basin people, will fight for it.
ನಮ್ಮ ರೈತರು ಯಾಕೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟರು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಬೀಗ ನಮ್ಮ ತೆಗಿಯ ಬೀಗ ಬೊಮ್ಮಾಯಿಯವ್ರ ಕೈಲಿ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೈಲಿ ಬೀಗ ಇದೆ ಬೊಮ್ಮಾಯಿಯವರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾನೂನು ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ರಾಜಕಾರಣ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ರಾಜಕಾರಣ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ನಾವು ರಾಜಕಾರಣ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟು ಯಾರ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಈಗ ನೀರು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಈಗ ಬೇಡ.
ನಿಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಳೆ ಕೊರತೆ ಆಗಿದೆ.
ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಇಡೀ 30 ವರ್ಷ 40 ವರ್ಷ ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಈ ವರ್ಷನೇ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಮಳೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ರೈತರು ನಾವು ಮತ್ತೆ ತಿಳಿಸಿದ್ದೀವಿ.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@ajtak.com.
This shocking video from Mumbai's Bandra terminus railway station is doing the rounds on social media. Alleged members of a right-wing outfit can be seen hurling abuses as well as throwing punches and kicks at a Muslim boy, accusing him of love jihad. The victim, who is a minor, was accompanying a minor Hindu girl, according to police sources, when he was attacked. As per sources, a kidnapping case was registered by parents of the girl at Ambarnath police station in Thane as the girl went missing. In the video, around 10 people can be seen beating the boy while chanting Jai Shri Ram and Vande Mataram. And a policeman remains mute spectator while the assault takes place. According to police sources, the incident took place on July the 21st and the video surfaced on social media on the 14th of August. The viral video has drawn sharp reactions from political leaders.
As long as every citizen of Mumbai, every citizen of Maharashtra and India feels safe, that is our goal. And for that to happen, a proper investigation will take place, and I'm sure that law will take its course.
AIMIM leader Waris Pathan has demanded a probe into the matter.
वहां पर पुलिस खड़ा हुआ है, आरपीएफ का, देख रहा है, कोई एक्शन नहीं लिया जा रहा है, उसको मारते हुए लेके जा रहे हैं, जेएसआर के नारे लगाए जा रहे हैं, उनको बोल रहे हैं कि ये इस लड़की को लेकर आ गया था। अरे ये क्या हो रहा है हमारे शहर में?
The NCP has called it unfortunate.
होम मिनिस्ट्री हैज कम्प्लीटली फेल्ड दिस स्टेट। मैंने पहली बार नहीं बहुत बार बोल चुकी हूँ कि होम मिनिस्ट्री जवाब दे, क्योंकि जिस तरह से क्राइम महाराष्ट्र में बढ़ रहा है, आप नासिक देखिए, आप पूना देखिए, और मुझे अमित शाह जी से विनती है कि उन्होंने महाराष्ट्र का भी मणिपुर और हरियाणा के साथ रिव्यू लेना चाहिए।
The Muslim boy was arrested by the police and handed over to the Ambarnath police, after which he was produced in a juvenile justice court.
Welcome back. Well, India's third mission to the moon has been largely successful. Chandrayaan 3 has managed to separate itself. The lander has separated from the rover. The rover is now descending towards the moon. Tomorrow will be the deboosting process, where the rover will lower its orbit. A quick look at what the rover is all about. It's a 6-wheeled vehicle. This is precisely what it looks like. And from what we know, the Pragyan rover has instruments that's configured with payloads, and that weighs about 26 kgs. It will be conducting experiments on the moon for about 14 days' time. This is one lunar day, which is 14 days. And as we know, the experiments will include extensively what the moon's surface really looks like. And the big challenge now for ISRO will, of course, be to find a landing spot. India Today is on its rolling coverage. We're, of course, tracking every development of Chandrayaan 3. Let me cut across to Pramod Madhav, who joins us for more on that. Pramod, ISRO putting out that message there. Thanks for the ride, mate, as the Pragyan rover separates from the Vikram lander. So it's been a rather successful journey for 34 days that the Chandrayaan 3 has managed to achieve. Tell us more about the deboosting process, as the rover will be lowering its orbit tomorrow, 4 p.m.
Surely it's a very interesting way ISRO is showing how the entire journey has been. Now the propulsion module has done its job. The propulsion module is going to continue to orbit the moon. This is going to be the third orbiting object from India alone to be on the moon. Chandrayaan 1, Chandrayaan 2's orbiter, and now we have the propulsion module, which will continue with its research on its own, and it will be powered by the sun and the propellant in it. So that way this particular mission's part is successful. Now coming to the deboosting method is one. Earlier from Earth's surface we had the acceleration, increase of orbit, and on the moon's surface, around the moon's orbit, there was a deceleration by which the distance to the moon was decreased. Now, what they're going to do is that the propulsion module is going to go around in a fixed orbit, while the lander module, that will have an elliptical orbit, which means one part of that elliptical path will be closer to the moon's surface, the other one a little longer. We expect it to be 30 kilometers to 100 meters. That way it will go ahead, and a couple of rounds will be occurring, by which ISRO will be conducting pre-launch tests on it to make sure that all sensors and everything is working fine, by which the lander module will be ready for 23rd.
All right, so 23rd of August is likely the day, the D-Day, when the Chandrayaan 3, the Pragyan rover, will likely be landing. So I'd like to repeat myself, the real task right now for the rover will be to find a landing spot. ISRO has been very closely monitoring every development, as all the sensors are active, communication is thorough. Let me cut across to all the reactions that are pouring in now as the anticipation builds up. Listen in.
हमें पूरा विश्वास है 100% बल्कि 110%, और सारी दुनिया की निगाहें इस समय चंद्रयान पर है। और 23 तारीख को लगभग सायंकाल 5:30-35 पर चंद्रयान की लैंडिंग भी उसी प्रकार से शेड्यूल की गई है।
तो आप लगातार उन वैज्ञानिकों से टच में हैं जो इस मिशन से जुड़े हुए हैं?
जी हाँ बिल्कुल। और ये मिशन चूंकि श्रीहरिकोटा और इसरो की एक परंपरा है कि यदि कोई वहां से वैज्ञानिक या चेयरमैन अथवा कोई अधिकारी सेवानिवृत्त हो जाता है तो फिर भी वो उस मिशन से अपना संबंध नहीं तोड़ता। और एक बड़ी सुखद बात यह कि जितने हमारे पूर्व चेयरमैन हैं, डॉक्टर के राधाकृष्णन, डॉक्टर किरण कुमार, सभी लोग इसमें एकजुट होकर के इसका फॉलोअप भी कर रहे हैं, अपने अपने इनपुट्स भी दे रहे हैं और इसकी मॉनिटरिंग भी कर रहे हैं।
और शुरुआत से ही लग रहा था कि ये मिशन सक्सेसफुल होगा, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से इसका प्रक्षेपण हुआ, अब तक जिस तरीके से ये आगे बढ़ा है, कामयाब रहा है, आज भी कामयाबी का एक स्टेप इसने हासिल किया। हमेशा से ही लग रहा था कि सब कुछ पॉजिटिव रहेगा। जितेंद्र जी,
निश्चय, क्योंकि बहुत सारी इसमें इस तरह की भी कुछ एक इस तरह से भी कुछ एक चीजें विकसित की गई हैं जो शायद दूसरे देशों को की तरफ से नहीं हो पाई थी। और उस तरह से कहा जा सकता है कि एक तरह से ये एक मिशन कई और मिशन की तुलना में ज्यादा सुपीरियर भी रहा है।
In a lot of ways, it is also a symbol of India's growing capability and capacity in these areas. We are the 5th largest economy in the world. We are the top 7 countries in terms of making aircraft carriers. We are the top 4 countries in terms of space. So we are clearly in the leadership as a nation, as an ecosystem of young Indians and of startups and large companies like ISRO in terms of shaping the future of tech, shaping technologies of the future. And I hope Chandrayaan 3 works out to be a very successful mission in terms of reaching the lunar surface.
It's a very good event. We are very happy to see that it is a very critical event has happened smoothly without any hitch. This one, and now it is a next phase of operations will start for landing. So whatever that mistakes happened in the Chandrayaan 2 have been corrected in Chandrayaan 3. Also, that additional design margins have been improved. Also, that wherever that redundancy is not there, now it's put it. That way, we have more confidence on Chandrayaan 3 to be successful. This once it is landing, it will be operating for 14 days, 14 Earth days is equal to 1 lunar day. And during that time, that it will do a lot of new scientific experiments. And being landing near the South Pole region, we are expecting some new science is going to come as outcome. That way, along with that, India will be acquiring a new technology for landing. So this is the type of advantages or milestone we will be able to achieve.
All right, I'm going to cut across now to Pramod, who's bringing us a lot of aspects of this Chandrayaan moon mission. Pramod, the countdown truly begins now as the rover now starts descending towards the moon. So this is really the last and final lap, or rather the last leg. Give us a sense on where exactly the rover is likely to land. Is this now going to be the real mission for ISRO to find a landing spot?